Mr. Trump.
Now let's rank.
Gary, I'm just afraid I'm gonna get. They gave me so much goddamn core here. I'm in like serious danger.
We'll do our best to get the show on the road.
And what do you have me sitting? One of my referees?
Promoter.
The free promoter.
That's all. I thought it was pretty smart, if you ask me. Good afternoon. I'm Mark Edis, president of Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino, Atlantic City's centerpiece. Welcome to our second satellite press conference as we edge closer and closer to Tyson versus Spinks once and for all. Before I begin the introductions and speeches, I do feel compelled to remind everyone that perhaps obscured by several extracurricular activities, Trump Plaza is hosting a rather big fight this Monday evening between two undefeated heavyweight champions. I'd be personally grateful if today's remarks and questions were pertinent to the events that will be taking place in the ring, as opposed to things that may be taking place outside the ring. At the conclusion of the speeches, we will be taking questions from members of the live audience, as well as from satellite viewers. I ask anyone in the audience who is interested in asking a question to please avail yourself of the microphones provided throughout the theater. Without further delay, let me then introduce several members of the dais. To my far left, the attorney for Butch Lewis, Michael Spinks, and Butch Lewis Productions, Mr. Milton Schwaski. To Milton's right, Vice President, Butch Lewis Productions, Don Hubbard. Skipping over the mayor for just a moment, the former heavyweight champion and former chairman of the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board, Jersey Joe Walcott. From the right side of the dais, and again I will skip over those people who will be speaking, let me introduce the assistant manager for Mike Tyson, Mr. Steve Lott. Before I call several of our dais guests to the microphone, there are two gentlemen in the audience that I would like to identify. They will be participating in the undercard Monday in separate bouts. The former WBC heavyweight champion, Trevor Berbick. Trevor? And also, on the undercard, the Canadian heavyweight champion, Razor Ruddock. Now it gives me great pleasure to introduce our boss, the president of the Trump Organization, Donald J. Trump.
They gave me a rough seat, sitting in between Butch and Don. I'll tell you, that's not so easy. Well, I just want to say, and I've just heard that this event, which is really, I mean, we knew it was going to be big, but it's turned out to be really, I guess, much bigger than anybody even anticipated, including me. And we've just broken the all-time live gate in the history not of boxing, but of sports. We're going to be close to $13 million live gate. So that's, to me, something that if you would have told me that with 22,000 seats, when you're comparing that to 100,000 seat stadiums and Super Bowls and everything else, that we have the highest gate, and we're close to $13 million, which is the highest in the history of sports. So I'm really happy and proud of that. You're going to have a lot of questions for the fighters and the champions, and they're two great guys. But I have to say one thing. I happen to know Robin Givens Tyson. And I just want to leave you with this. I've seen a lot of different things. She is one hell of a fine lady. And she's real quality. So I want to leave you with that. That is a quality lady. And thank you very much. And have a great fight. And we'll see you on the 27th. Thank you.
Thank you, Donald. The mayor of Atlantic City is someone very important to all of us, and it is with great pleasure that I introduce to you James Ustry, mayor of Atlantic City.
To all
assemble for fear that one may be placed at a higher category, because at this particular time we're looking forward to Atlantic City, the new fight capital of the world, because of what's happening here. You can say no if you want to, but damn it, it's here. And the mere fact that we're talking about the world's record for a live gate, and let me amplify that again, because you know when Donald Trump said it, he had to say it twice before Butch Lewis was the first one that said, well, let's give a little applause for that. Those of you in the media understand that the Tyson-Spinks fight will generate more money than any other sporting event in the history of this earth. Now, I think that demands and merits a louder round of applause. Congratulations to both parties. And we in the city of Atlantic City are extremely happy, pleased, and proud to be the site for this. We were interviewed day before yesterday, and someone mentioned what was happening. We said, yes, this is bigger than the last, and the next might be bigger than this. Congratulations to both. A very, very hard-fought fight, and to the victor, the spoils. That's the best we can say here in the city of Atlantic City. Congratulations. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor Osri. I'd like to now ask the president of the Trump Casino Group to come up and share a few words with you, Stephen F. Hyde.
Obviously, it's my pleasure. When we started this event, I was not president of the Trump Casino Group. I was only president of Trump Plaza. To have the opportunity to hold this event at one of Donald Trump's properties is absolutely one of the greatest achievements that anyone could ever hope to have in their career. And to have someone like Mark Edis to spearhead the promotion here at Trump Plaza, now that I've moved on to take over both of Donald's operations down here, is a pure pleasure. For Atlantic City, I would again like to say we have, I believe, moved this city 5 to 10 years in the future as far as public recognition. Could not have been done any other way than the way that it has been done by Donald Trump, by bringing this type of world-class sporting event here to Atlantic City. Proud to be a part of it, proud to be a part of what it's doing for Atlantic City, and proud to be a part of what it's doing for New Jersey. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. The next gentleman, who is always right in the middle of all of the boxing, as he should be as commissioner of the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board, has been in the center a little bit more than usual lately. It is with great pleasure that I bring to you Mr. Larry Hazard.
Thank you very much, Mark. Mr. Trump, I'm glad to hear those figures that you quoted, because we've been reading a lot lately about this fight. But with the big fights come the big issues. And I think that all of us here in the state of New Jersey are well equipped to handle whatever they can bring. Because I'm sure that the two fighters will do what's necessary on June 27th. The state of New Jersey is very proud to be hosting this event, because for a long time, New Jersey has done its share in producing great fighters. And for this type of event to come to this state, certainly we all must be proud of, and certainly we all deserve it. History will write that the greatest boxing event and the greatest sporting event to ever take place in the history of professional sports was held here in the state of New Jersey. And I'm very proud to be the presiding officer over all boxing in this state. I am hell-bent on seeing that this event takes place here in New Jersey on June 27, 1988. It will take place here in New Jersey. Any decisions that have to be made from this day forth until that evening that I must be involved in, I stand ready to make those decisions. And once those decisions are made, they will stay. So whatever you got, bring it. I'm ready. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Mr. Butch Lewis requires little introduction. He's certainly one of the main reasons we're here, and certainly one of the main reasons that the checkbook is open as wide as it is. The manager and promoter, dear friend of Michael Spinks, Butch Lewis.
Thank you, everyone. I feel the excitement, the adrenaline starting to flow. All the familiar faces in the media, we welcome you here to what we feel will be the nitty-gritty in Atlantic City. I don't have too much to say other than been a lot of fireworks, but the best fireworks are yet to be seen. That's on the 27th, and that's what we're here and concerned about. That's Mr. Spinks and Mr. Tyson. So with that, I'd just like to thank you and see you on the 27th.
Thank you, Butch. Brief and to the point, which is a perfect introduction for our next speaker. Promoted more championship fights than anybody in history of the game, and that says more in one sentence than I could possibly say. Don King.
Thank you. It is indeed a pleasure for me to address this distinguished august body. And I know that you are the sports scribes that will take the word to friend and foe alike that a great happening is happening here in Atlantic City, one that will boggle the minds of all those who have the honor and privilege of being here to see it live and in living color. And for those who can't, then they can check it out in the closed circuit and pay-per-view screens and see it on the screen. It is indeed an extravaganza second to none. It is a fight that the public demanded. And naturally, the fight of this magnitude could only be brought together by guys like Donald Trump, who has the daring, the flair, the look, and the cash to make it happen. It is indeed a pleasure to address each and every one of you. You're going to have a super undercard because I don't feel that the main event will last long. So we have scheduled to fight here in the event that the controversy is solved, Trevor Berbick and Carl Williams. Razor Ruddock, a young man I just met, Donovan Razor Ruddock, will be fighting the guy who knocked out Leon Spinks in 30 seconds. Morrison, I believe, is his name. And you'll have Pinklin Thomas, the former WBC heavyweight champion of the world. He will be fighting on the card. And you will have Buster Douglas fighting Mike Williams, the young aspirant to the throne, who fought here in Atlantic City to a close split decision with Tim Witherspoon. So excitement is in the air. Fisticuffs is going to abound. I think it's going to be something that each and every one of you will be pleased to see. And the excitement indeed is now growing. It's the momentum and the enthusiasm is growing by geometric progression. Everybody's name is out there in the lights, but one name is one that is inimitable and incomparable that is going throughout the world, that things are happening at Trump Plaza. It is now taking over the mantle of world enterprise in the sweet science. So everywhere you go, you will see and hear Trump Plaza is having major extravaganzas, events and spectaculars that are second to none. So we want you to be able to enjoy yourself. Listen to all the gossip and the excitement, the intrigues, the stories that surround this magnificent event. And it's going to be something that we all will relish in history. Later years, we will reflect nostalgically about these magic moments that transpired here at Trump Plaza. The hotel that has something for everyone. Food, ambrosia for the gods, rooms, posh, elegant, luxurious resting places. And we have a casino out there that is second to none, and Steve has the burden of carrying them both. With Trump's castle, where all the kings and queens and royalty goes, and for Trump Plaza, where the masses of the people flows. So everyone can become rich, just if you're lucky, because it isn't fair for Trump to have it all and you don't have none. He wants to share it with you. So we're excited about this, and I'm just happy to be a part of this great promotion, this great fight that will settle all of the differences. And I'm certain that you, like I, know that it can only go one way. Mike Tyson. Double your money. Thank you.
Thank you, Don, for the commercial endorsement, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. A lot has been made about the revenues that will come about, and Donald has already addressed the live site revenue. We wanted to share with you some information relative to closed circuit and pay-per-view, and the right guy to share that with you is the closed circuit and pay-per-view coordinator for the event, Shelley Finkel.
I'll make it as brief as possible and then answer any questions after the press conference. As time progresses, new technologies take over, and what is happening is closed circuit is the way of the past, and pay-per-view is what has taken its place. I guess the barometer of comparison is the Leonard Hagler fight, because up until this fight, that was the largest ever. And for that fight, they had 2 million homes for addressable pay-per-view. This fight has over 5 million. And as a barometer, the largest cable system in the United States is Cablevision on Long Island. The biggest event they ever had was WrestleMania, which did a 16% penetration. As of this morning, they had 12.5%, and they expect to have 16% going into the weekend, which makes it the largest event they've ever had. In California, the guarantee was 2.9 million, when the total gross on Leonard Hagler to the promotion was 2.5. And that is the standard which I think will become what the future will hold. And this fight, as has always been predicted, will be the largest grossing, largest netting fight in history. Thank you.
Thank you, Shelley. Next, I'd like to bring forth the manager of Mike Tyson, Mr. Bill Caton.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark. Many of you people know that I've been in boxing for 40 years. And compared to what it was in the past, boxing has become a very complicated and very intricate business. This is particularly true of World Heavyweight Championship bouts, the very top rung of the boxing business. This match in particular, Mike Tyson against Michael Spinks, which in today's high-tech world will reach audiences in all parts of the globe, viewed by more people than any fight in boxing history, people who speak dozens of different languages, but who share a mutual fascination for top championship boxing and for Mike Tyson. This match has taken many months of long, arduous work to fit all the component parts together. Sadly, during this time, my beloved partner of 25 years, Jim Jacobs, suddenly and unexpectedly died. Jim's death was a huge loss to the boxing world, to his wife Lorraine, to Mike Tyson, and of course, a great personal loss to me. I worked morning, noon, and night towards making this fight the greatest success in boxing history, which it will be, as a tribute to Jim. I won't go into the obstacles I've had to contend with. To date, I've been advised not to respond in kind, but you members of the media are all well aware of this. All I will say is that Mike Tyson is in great shape, and I look forward to a great fight. I and my partner Jim Jacobs both felt this match will go down in history as one of the greatest fights of the century. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bill. I'd next like to introduce and ask to come forward the trainer of Michael Spinks, Mr. Eddie Futch.
Thank you, Mark. I don't have very much to say except that I'm very pleased and very proud to be a part of this great event. In the past, I have been associated with some gigantic promotions, but this one staggers the imagination, and I repeat, I'm very proud to be a part of it. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Eddie. Now, wise beyond his years, the young and very, very underrated trainer of Mike Tyson, Kevin Rooney.
Thanks, Mark. We've been training real hard for Mr. Spinks. I know and Michael knows he's a very good fighter. He's undefeated for many years. We've been taking a lot of criticism, a lot, that was unfounded and untrue. We're here to kick a little ass. We're ready. Michael's ready. He's in great shape. I know Mr. Spinks is in great shape. He has a great corner in Eddie Futch. There's no disputing that. Mike Tyson is ready to defend the World Heavyweight Championship, which is his and solely his. And the night of the 27th is going to be very exciting, and it could be very quick or it could be very long. For all you media people that keep questioning Tyson's condition, I say the longer the fight goes, the worse off for Michael Spinks, because Mike Tyson does not get tired, he only gets stronger. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin. Before we bring the main event fighters up, I would like to introduce the editor of the Ring magazine to make a presentation, Nigel Collins.
Good morning, everybody. I'd like to thank the Trump Organization and everybody else concerned with the promotion for allowing me to steal a few minutes here to make a presentation. Years ago, the founder of Ring magazine, Nat Fleischer, toured the world presenting genuine world champions with championship belts. It's a tradition that's been fallen by the wayside recently, but today marks its return. The Ring magazine has always felt that stripping world champions of their title did boxing far more harm than good. And we also believe that titles should be won and lost the old-fashioned way, inside the ring. Back in 1985, Michael Spinks defeated undefeated Larry Holmes for the heavyweight championship of the world. To date, he is still unbeaten. On the 27th, he will fight Mike Tyson. And if Mr. Tyson wins, we will have a belt for him. But now we have this belt for Michael Spinks. It's his to keep, and I'd like to take this opportunity to present it to him. Michael?
Straighten him out. Yeah.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Don't go too far from your neck. Don't go too far. While he's up here, it's only appropriate that I bring to the microphone the 1976 Olympic gold medal winner, former undisputed light heavyweight champion of the world, Michael Spinks.
I've been waiting for this for a long time. Well, it's great to have it. Yeah, once again. Sure. For your eyes only. All right. Well, I didn't prepare a speech or anything. So I'm here just to say that I'm happy to be here. Very, very happy to be here. Very happy to be a part of such an event. I'd like to salute to all the members of the dais, and I would certainly like to say that I'm sure this is one you all wouldn't want to miss. So, I'm feeling fine. I'm in good shape.
I got to sleep last night, and I'm awfully happy to see all of you. You all looking great. I thank you all for coming, and I guess I'll see you, what date is, the 27th. Okay.
Thank you, Michael. Well, that leaves one guy. The IBF, WBA, WBC heavyweight champion, the Ultimate Warrior, Mike Tyson.
What can I say? I'm just sure June 27th, there's no doubt in my mind the best fighter in the world. I'll be happy to answer all comments. No one can beat me.
Well, we're now up to that part in the program where we're going to welcome questions from the live audience as well as from the people viewing the press conference via satellite. I'd like to go out to the audience first, again asking you please, if you've got your questions, to please come to one of the microphones so that everyone in the audience as well as those people watching via satellite will have the opportunity. Our first question right over here. Yes?
Michael, now that you have your belt, could you explain a little bit about how you feel about being referred to occasionally as a challenger, as you were on CBS a couple weeks ago? What goes through your mind when people say that, and your feelings about being a champion?
I'm going to try to find a way to answer that. Well, my feelings about being a champion, you know, it's always a great feeling. It's a thrill, an honor to be considered as the heavyweight champion, Superman, I call him. It's a great feeling to have this belt. I don't really have any comments on if you're looking for me to try to defend anything and saying that, and just accepting the fact that I'm recognized as the heavyweight champion. I don't have any strong feelings of defending myself for anything. I'm very happy and thrilled, as I said, to be considered still and to be awarded with such a prestigious item that claims and says that I am just that. That's about all.
Thank you, Michael. More questions from the audience? Talk about a surprise. Any more questions? See someone going to the microphone. Yes.
Yeah, Michael, following up on the same theme, it seems every time since you've been a heavyweight, you're sitting up at one of these podiums, you're hearing everybody tell you you have no shot. I'd like to know how you feel about keep hearing that over and over again, if it helps you or it doesn't matter.
Well, my feelings on that, sitting at podiums up, hearing everyone say how I don't have a chance at anything, being that this is a sporting event, a competitive sport, you know, you hear it a lot in all sports, how I guess one or the other of whichever team or individuals, they're not given much of a chance. I mean, it happens all the time, so I don't really feel out of place. You know, I've grown to I guess to get pretty used to whatever they would say about me. I mean, they've been talking about me for a long time, and I learned to feel just good about getting talked about.
Has there been any satisfaction in proving them wrong against Holmes, Cooney? Has there been any satisfaction in proving those predictions wrong?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm out to prove anybody wrong. I'm out to please, to just go through what I feel, and everyone that surrounds me
all of our ideas come together and we say, yeah, we are this, we can do this, and we believe this. So when it ends and they're proved wrong themselves, I mean, you would say their predictions were incorrect. It's no special thrill that I get to look him in the face and say, I mean, it doesn't bother me. I mean, I know it's a fact that everyone's predictions aren't correct. I mean, we all make mistakes, you know. So it's no big deal. Like I said, I've grown used to all the things that are said about me and against me, you know. Like I said, just it feels good to be talked about.
Thank you. Another question over here, please.
Colonel. I think we've all noted the absence of Jimmy Binns and Bob Lee. Do we have a final decision on the sanctioning of this fight, and is the winner actually going to be the undisputed heavyweight champion?
I don't know who to direct that question to.
To the public, it should.
Shelley, Kevin, somebody. Butch?
The only initials that will need to be placed on the winner of the fight on the 27th is THE, the heavyweight champion of the world. Don't need anything else.
Okay, another question from the live audience.
Yes, Michael Spinks, in the past you have had trouble with shorter fighters. You haven't had your greatest success against them. In Mike Tyson, you're fighting not only the best shorter fighter, but the best fighter you've ever faced. You brought in White Muhammad Kawi to help you. A couple of questions. First of all, why do you think you've had problems with shorter fighters in the past? And second of all, why do you think this time it will be different?
Yeah, okay, well, the first question first. I can't recall ever really having any serious problems with a shorter man. So it's really tough for me to answer the second one. I really can't recall having any problems. I mean, every fight presents a problem. I mean, of some sort of another. So, I mean, if you want to say problem, I had problems throughout my whole career because the man is not cooperative at all. He's not going to stand there and let me just wail away at his, you know, and let me have it all my way. And that's exactly the way I would like to have it. But if you don't mind me asking you a question, which boxer in particular are you talking about? Which fight in particular?
Well, Johnny Davis.
Johnny Davis wasn't a short man.
Right.
Johnny Davis?
Yeah.
Not Johnny
well, not Johnny. Johnny Davis. Well, Johnny Davis. I stopped Johnny Davis. That's right.
Yes, you did. I'm not talking. You won them all, no question about it. But it seemed like at times during the fight you had problems, struggled a little bit, despite the fact that you won.
In having my way, if you mean, if that's what you mean, I think we all have those problems. In having it all our way. There's not many of us can do it like that.
I got to take another call. We've got someone on the line from Birmingham, WBRC, Gil Tyre. Gil, are you with us? Please direct your question.
Yes, I'm here in Michael. I remember St. Augustine, Florida. Matthew Saad Muhammad, remember that, the White Braxton. A couple questions for you. You come in at 210, the heaviest you've ever been. How are you able to fight a tactical finesse fight with that amount of weight in your situation? How do you feel?
Well, I've never came in at 210. The heaviest I've been was, I guess, around 208. And the rest of the question, I didn't hear the rest of the question.
In terms of being able to fight a finesse fight with that amount of weight, you know, you say you're at the heaviest you've ever been.
Oh, yeah, well, no. I mean, if I can walk around with it, I'm sure I can carry it around the ring and do what I should do with it. It's all a part of me, and I think I'm doing pretty well in the gym with it. I mean, it's not. I wouldn't say it's anything new. I think I reduced some things and just replaced it with something else. But I'm not carrying anything extra, really.
Okay. Mike Tyson, a question for you. In terms of Bone Crusher Smith being able to go with you the distance and the psychological aspect of that fight, do you expect Michael Spinks to try that and try to tie you up and frustrate you a little bit?
Gil, can you repeat that question?
Okay, in terms of Michael Tyson had problems, or I should say went the distance with Bone Crusher Smith, and the psychological aspect of that, does he expect Spinks to try to tie him up and frustrate him a little bit like that?
Whatever he does, I'm confident I'll be successful. Doesn't matter. I'm going to win.
Okay, Gil?
Thank you.
Okay. Jim Murray?
Mike Tyson, you're a boxing historian. Which heavyweight title fight do you expect this one to be like in history?
Well, I don't describe any of my fights being an equal to any of the ones in the history of boxing or any past performances. I'm just confident that every time I step in the ring, I'm going to be successful because I proved it 35 times. And this will be my 35th time proving that I'll be successful also again.
Okay, Jim. Another question in the audience.
Michael Spinks. Yeah. I think you surprised the world with your knockout power over Jerry Cooney. And is your weight up heavier now than it was for that fight? And if so, are you still training with weights?
Well, I would say I still dip and dab for certain things that I would need to do my thing with, I would say. But the first part of the question was?
You surprised the world with your power, I believe, in the heavyweight division. And are you going to look for the knockout possibly?
Oh, no, well, I'm just looking to win. If you ask me, I think I've always packed a little bit of a punch. It just doesn't look like it. But I just plan to try to win. I would like to just get out of it with a win.
We've got another caller on the line. Excuse me, caller on the line from Roanoke, WSLS, Greg Roberts. Greg, go right ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you. Two quick questions, one from Mike Tyson, one from Mike Spinks. Heavyweight champ Mike Tyson, we hear talk about distraction outside the ring, but what I want to know, has your training altered any way, any more training, any less for this fight? Can you explain?
Well, I've been boxing 12 rounds every day, and then I had a pimple busted over my eye, and my trainer panicked. And then after that, I didn't train for a week. I just hit the bag and did floor work. And then after that, I started boxing the regular 6 rounds. And I'm in great shape. If I'm not ready to fight, if I stop training a week from now or 2 weeks ago, if I stopped training and I went home and for a week didn't do anything, and if I wasn't ready even then, I would never be ready because I'm at the best. I'm ready. And like I said before, I'm the best in the world, and there's no one on this planet that can come near to me.
Spinks, a very accomplished career dating back to the 76 Olympics. My question, win or lose, will this be your final fight?
I don't know. I can't answer that. I'll do whatever's left in boxing for me to do, but I refuse to announce any type of retirement or that this is my last fight as of now. I'm going to go through with this fight, and as of now, my career is still going on. So I won't answer that.
Thank you, Greg. Mark Drucker?
Yes, Michael Spinks, a lot of athletes envision success in their mind before they perform their feat. Do you see the headlines that say Spinks is the winner? Do you see that in your mind at all?
No, no. I don't try to see that far. I take everything one step at a time, and I like doing things just that way. I don't look forward to trying to dream things up. I like accepting them as they come.
How much of the Tyson-Holmes fight did you absorb in your mind when you saw that, and how much will you bring into it Monday?
I'll carry only what I have into the fight with me, what I possess.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We have a caller on the line from Connecticut, Cablevision of Connecticut, Dennis Buckman. Dennis, go ahead with your question, please.
Yes, I'd like to address a question to Michael Spinks, if I could, concerning the New Jersey State Athletic Commission's ruling mandating a 12-rounder for this fight. A lot of people think that that would be an advantage for Mr. Spinks, the boxer, and maybe a disadvantage to Mike Tyson, the puncher. Maybe we can get both fighters' comments on that.
Well, I stated the last press conference we had. I said that it didn't matter what amount of rounds we went, and I still say the same thing. It doesn't matter whatever role it'll play in the fight. I'm not sure of, but I'm not looking for any advantages or disadvantages. I'm here for one purpose. And I've been training for one purpose, and that's about it.
Mike Tyson, 12 versus 15, make any difference?
No difference. No difference. Winner take all. I can use the extra money.
Okay, question from the audience. For Mike Tyson. Mike, do you have any fear at all coming into this fight? Can you repeat the question, please? We have a little audio stuff. Yeah. Mike Tyson, do you have any fear at all coming into this fight?
Well, even if why do I have to be afraid? Why didn't you asking him, is he afraid?
I guess that was your answer. Do we have any other questions from the live audience? Yes, right over here.
Mr. Spinks, do you have any fear of Mike Tyson? And I'd like to ask the champion a question, too. Mr. Spinks, as you approach this fight, and with the reputation that Mr. Tyson has, his temper and his temperament and everything else, how are you going to approach? I know you've had some secret training sessions as far as sparring is concerned. Do you have a secret weapon or something you're going to show Mr. the champion?
Yeah, it's going to be down my trunks. No, of course not. I mean, where can you hide anything in the ring? No. I don't have any secret weapons. I mean, I'm going to bring my gloves and my trunks and my shoes, and I'm going to fight the fight.
Mr. Spinks, people say that the secret, the floor, if there is any floor on the champion, is an uppercut. Have you been working on the uppercut?
Well, I would say I throw a lot of punches, so I don't just work on one punch in particular to master. I master a lot of punches, so I work on everything. I work on everything that I possess. I think I can't help but do that. That's how I box.
Thank you very much. And to the champion, Mr. Tyson, Mr. Spinks has an unorthodox style, and I heard your interview with Don King, but I'd like you to talk about your approach in fighting Michael Spinks, which a lot of people have had difficulty in fighting that type of a style.
Well, it's just the majority of it, everything is just bullshit. I just want to fight and as soon as possible.
Okay, we've got another caller on the line from WRC, the Sports Machine in Washington, D.C. Joe Schreiber, go ahead if you will, please.
Yes, thank you very much. This is a question directed first towards Michael Spinks. Michael, I'm just curious, what motivates you in this fight? You've always talked about how happy you are, so I'm sure it really isn't the money. What motivates you for it?
What motivates me for any fight?
Well, this one in particular.
This fight in particular? Oh, well, I'm happy the fact that I still have something going on in my life. Believe it or not, I mean, it's kind of tough. I mean, it's a weird thing to say for some. I mean, I guess for people of my sport, but I'll say honestly that it feels good to still have some terror in my life. I mean, something that really frightens me when I wake up in the morning. I mean, I got to go to the gym today. That frightens me. I mean, to go to the gym and have to go through all the exercises, just taking the punches and going through, trying not to get hit. But it's pretty exciting. It's something that a lot of people just can't do. And I've been doing it for quite a while, and to know that I still have it to do and something to do that not a lot of people can do, that motivates me. And I'm still able to make a living. That's awfully motivating. So I mean, it's simple.
As long as I'm alive, I do want to be doing something, and this is something that's very rare for anybody to be doing for a living. So yeah, it's very motivating. Competition. I'm a competitive nut.
Do you have another question? Yeah, towards Michael Tyson. What motivates you against Michael Spinks? Because I know in the past you haven't really talked about any specific fighter that motivates you. What motivates you in this fight?
I just want to win.
Thank you.
Right over in the audience.
Mike, in November of 1986, you were on the cover of Sports Illustrated. You were something like 15-0 or something, and we found out a little bit about you. Now, 2 years, 3 years later, you're famous, world famous. Has the price of fame been too great for you?
Well, there's nothing about fame is handled. It's all, I mean, according to yourself. If you wanted to go out of proportion with it and get egotistical and really believe your newspaper clippings, that's cool too. You just got to pay the consequences. But the only thing that concerns with being a celebrity, quote, is that when you're a celebrity, especially of my caliber, you make a great deal of money. And once you make a great deal of money, there's a whole bunch of greed involved. And that's the only thing that interferes as far as your life and your professional career. But as far as this shit is great.
We've got a phone call, then we'll be back to you. But first on the phone from West Virginia, WORK. Mike Clifford. Mike, go ahead, please.
Hello. This question is for Mr. Trump. Can you enlighten us just a little bit about the fight before the fight?
What are you talking about when you say the fight before? Are you talking about my competition with Las Vegas?
No, those commercials that we've been seeing on the TV that have been chasing you and Mr. Tyson around. Can you enlighten us a little bit about that?
Now you're talking about the Pepsi commercial or the commercial for the fight itself?
No, the Pepsi commercial.
The other fight. Well, I don't know. This was done by an advertising agency from Maryland, and I from what I've heard, it's an award-winning commercial. I understand it's up for a lot of awards. I think it's a fantastic commercial. It's an awesome commercial, and I think it has a chance of getting perhaps the top award for the top commercial this year. I mean, I really think they did a great job in that commercial.
Is there anything behind it, or is it just a commercial for the Pepsi people?
Now you're talking about the Pepsi commercial. I mean, you're talking about two commercials. The Pepsi people, I agreed to do the commercial because Pepsi agreed to give me $100,000 for charity. And I thought that I could get on television for 1 second and say I have no comment for $100,000 to go to a lot of worthy charities. I don't do commercials. I've never done one even for my own places. Steve Hyde is killing me on that because he'd like me to, and I've kept saying no. But Pepsi came in, and we agreed to $100,000 for charity. And I said, if I can't go on the air and say I have no comment for $100,000 going to AIDS research and multiple sclerosis and a lot of other things, split up probably in $10,000 lots, $10,000 lots, then I'd be doing a great disservice. So for $100,000 to charity, I decided to do the commercial.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rosemary Ross.
Mr. Caton, if that's all right. Since the contract originally stated 12 or 15 rounds signed by both sides, and since you want this fight to go down in history the way you do, why were you so adamant on 12 rounds all of a sudden?
Simply because the weight of medical evidence was overwhelming. All over the world, medical boards, and I'm not referring to the sanctioning bodies, not just the WBC and the WBA, but the British boxing board, the Spanish, the Italians, the French, and most recently the European Boxing Union, as well as boxing organizations in almost all of Latin and South American countries, after considering the medical evidence, determined that the 13th, 14th, and 15th rounds were dangerous to fighters beyond all proportion. And on that basis, they have all voted not to permit fights to extend beyond 12 rounds. In fact, in England, they have prohibited fights from going beyond 12 rounds, even though they may have been previously sanctioned. They would make that fight leave the country. On the basis of that, it seemed unconscionable to consider this fight going 15 rounds, particularly since the IBF itself had just voted at its own convention that the 12-round limit would be their limit, but they made it starting September. I did not understand that. Once they had decided, in the interest of a fighter's welfare, to have fights end at 12 rounds, I did not understand their moving it ahead for 2 months, and thus would have an effect to make this a 15-round fight, even though they have permitted other fights that have taken place in the interim period to be 12 rounds. And on that basis, I felt 12 rounds was the right length, and that's the length it's going to be.
We've got a question on the line. WTVR Richmond, Ivan Schwartz. Ivan, ask your question, please.
Okay, I'd like to address my first question to Michael Spinks. Michael, we've heard you say over and over again that each particular fight poses a particular problem. What's the number one concern of Mike Tyson, and how have you handled that during your training period?
Repeat the question, please. I'm terribly sorry.
You said over and over again that for each particular fight it poses a particular problem. What about Mike Tyson is it that poses that problem, and how have you worked on that particular problem during your training?
I won't know until I get in the ring with Tyson, and I'll be able to tell you what type of problem Tyson posed to me. I mean, I can't say now, because I've never been in the ring with Mike Tyson. So I should have continued, right? Because that's a question I can't answer right now. I can't answer the question. I've never stepped in the ring and boxed Mike Tyson. But I'll know, as soon as the fight ends, I'll be able to tell you.
Ivan, do you have another question? Yeah, one more question. I'll ask you right after the fight, too, Michael. Let's shift gears and ask Mike Tyson. Throughout this training period, how much more difficult has it been for you to sift through your personal life and separate it from the fight itself, and what sorts of things have you done to separate them both?
I'm just in the best shape of my possible career at this particular moment. I'm not involved with what's scandalous or whatever happened in my personal life. I just know I'm in great shape and I'm prepared to fight. That's some good shit.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Mark Drucker?
I'd like to ask Donald Trump, would you honestly be disappointed if this turned out to be a short fight?
No, I just want to see the better man win. I think you have two great champions. I don't want to ruin any images, but I also happen to think they're two great guys on a personal basis. And I just hope nobody gets hurt and that it's a good fight. That's what I want to see.
And I'd like to ask Don King, in one word, your feelings about this fight.
He is tongue-tied.
I would like to try to accommodate you.
That's not correct.
But one word is very difficult, other than Tyson. I think there's two styles. You got a great fighter. You can't get this fight in one word, but you can get it with two great fighters going into the ring. But the styles are such that they're compatible to a puncher like Tyson, who really is a great boxer puncher with very, very fast hands. So from my position as looking at it as a fight connoisseur, I think that Tyson will annihilate Spinks because of the styles.
Well, thank you. Only one word. That was close. On the line from Baltimore, WJZ, Paul Sherry.
Hi, this is a question directed to Mike Tyson. Mike, what makes you think you're going to beat Spinks? You've never fought really any great heavyweight of any significance. Larry Holmes.
Who has Spinks ever fought?
He fought Larry Holmes when he was in a better condition during his career, beat him twice.
Very controversial decision, and Mike Tyson fought Larry Holmes and knocked him out in 4 rounds.
Mike, I want to. Could you answer the question, Mike? Why do you think you're going to beat Spinks?
Because, like I said before, I'm the best fighter in the world.
What?
I'm the best fighter in the world, and no one can beat me. And then again on the 27th, I'll prove it again.
Well, could you
You're talking like a Spinks fan and a cheerleader. I don't want to hear it.
Hey, I'm not a cheerleader, Mike. I want you to answer a question. Why do you think you're going to beat Spinks?
I told you before, I'm the best fighter in the world.
Could you elaborate on that a little bit for us, Mike?
Yes. I think I'll answer that question. Mike Tyson is a better boxer than Michael Spinks. He is faster than Michael Spinks.
Time out, Bill. Time out, Bill. Time out, Bill. Time out, Bill.
Michael Spinks.
Time out, Bill. Time out, Bill. Now, we're going to let the boxers answer their question. We're going to leave it like that. If we want to get down, let me know.
Let's get down. Let's get down. Let's get down. Let's get down. I got money. We're going to bet on Tyson. Whatever you want. Whatever you want. 100,000, 1 million, whatever you want. Money talks.
Well, I knew if we stayed here long enough, it would get exciting. Question up here.
For Mr. Trump. Yes. When you close the doors Monday night, how do you top this that's about to take place, and what do we have to look forward to next on the agenda?
Well, I was just telling my people today it's going to be a great downer Tuesday morning, regardless. I mean, for everybody up here, not only for myself and Steve and Mark. This has turned out to be an event that's unparalleled. I guess not since Ali Frazier won has there been anything like it. And I think there's going to be a little depression around a lot of us for a couple of weeks after the fight. It's going to be very hard to ever top this particular fight. I guess there'll be other fights and there'll be other events, and we have some great events scheduled, but this event has just turned out to be something very special. And I think you're right. I think it's going to be very hard, and there's going to be a period of adjustment because this is a very exciting time for all of us.
When does Don King go on retainer as a public relations person for the Plaza?
Well, Don King is, despite what you read about Don King, I think he's a wonderful guy. And I'm probably the only person in this room that happens to think both Don and Butch are wonderful guys. I get myself in trouble with that, so I don't want to ruin their reputations by saying that. But I'll tell you what, they're two good guys, and they have really done some job, because say what you want, people can criticize or whatever. Whatever they did, this event has turned out like no other. So we can say, weren't they here, or weren't they there, or what are they? But the fact is, this event is a monster. So there must have been, along with a lot of other people, and especially Mike and Mike, but this event has turned out to be a monster. So I say that Don and Butch have done one hell of a job. And Bill.
We got another caller on the line, a big name from New Orleans, WVUE, Ron Swoboda. Ron, come on in.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to Mike Tyson, please, if I could.
You can.
And the question is, do you think this has the potential to be an ugly fight in that Spinks may be on his bicycle and you'll be chasing him all over the ring?
Sure. You know, I mean, it depends. If he comes to try to win the title, it could be a good fight. But if he comes, you know, if you want to play around and run around, there could be a long fight. But regardless, he's not going to win. It depends on what frame of mind. If he wants to win, you have to be competitive and take chances like I take chances. If you want that title, other than that, you're just in there for the ride.
Okay. I'd like to ask Michael Spinks then. He's trained here in New Orleans with Mackie Shilstone. Can he let us in on a little bit of what he's done this time since he pretty much stayed away from the media when he was here?
Well, I don't think that's important. I think the fact that I'm going to show up ready to fight is all we need to know.
Will you be running around the ring, or will you go for it?
No, I've never ran around any ring. I don't run from anybody. I've never ran from anybody. So, no, I won't be running.
Great. Thank you.
Late today, world heavyweight boxing champion Mike Tyson checked himself out of a New York hospital where he was admitted after an automobile accident last weekend. The accident was serious enough that doctors recommended Tyson not train for at least 30 days, forcing postponement of his next fight. But none of that reveals just how serious Mike Tyson's out-of-the-ring problems may be. Charles Osgood reports.
What the New York Daily News headlines were screaming today was a shocker. Mike Tyson is the last man in the world you'd think would try to kill himself. Millions envy him. At 22, the heavyweight boxing champion of the world, earning over $20 million a fight, living with his beautiful young bride, actress Robin Givens, in a $4.5 million mansion. Tyson was surely a winner with all the talent, fame, and fortune he'd ever dreamed of.
I was going to be successful. There's going to be people coming out of the woodworks all over the world. Everyone in the world was going to know me.
Yet for some time now, it's been clear that things have been going better for Tyson in the ring than out. 3 years ago, Cus D'Amato, his old friend, trainer, and mentor, died. Mike wished so much Cus could have seen him become champ.
It was like your father, and they're talking with you, and you wanted to impress your father.
In the last several months, there's been one incident after another. Manager Jim Jacobs died in March. In May, there was a car accident, Tyson losing control of his Bentley, the papers said, after his wife Robin had slapped him in an argument.
We're very normal and very much in love, and maybe if they printed that, no one would care.
In July, there was a lawsuit. In August, a street fight, Tyson meeting and punching a one-time ring opponent, Mitch Blood Green. Then, this past Sunday, near his Catskills training camp, yet another car crash, this time with Mike alone in the car, running it into a tree. He was taken to a hospital in New York City.
Today's Daily News story says this time it was no accident, but a deliberate attempt on Tyson's part to take his own life. The news quotes family members and friends as saying what happened was that Tyson had been arguing with his wife, fighting with her, beating her, threatening her, and telephoned her that morning to say he was going to take the car out and crash it. Manager Bill Caton says there's no way that story can be true.
There are lies after lies, which are obvious lies, and the article, I think, is for that reason one that has no legitimacy of any kind.
If the sensational newspaper story is true, that wouldn't surprise Harry Edwards.
It's an individual kind of a sport, and beyond one's manager and one's immediate family, there are not a lot of people that you can really turn to with trust.
Sounds like what Tyson was telling us before the Spinks fight.
As far as I'm concerned, I don't have no friends. I don't want people near me. I don't want people near my wife. I don't want people near my family. When you come down to it, no one cares about us.
The suicide attempt story is still unconfirmed. But even if it is not true, anyone who had been envying the life of Mike Tyson might think again.
I don't know. It has to be more out there. You know what I mean? I just feel in my bones this is not the end. It has to be so much more.
Charles Osgood, CBS News, New York.
They called it, and I quote, a domestic incident not unlike many others. But what happened yesterday was only the latest round in the violent private life of troubled heavyweight boxing champion Mike Tyson. Harold Dow is covering the story.
Robin and Ruth flee mansion. Tyson rampage. Once again, the headlines told the story. It happened yesterday morning. Heavyweight champion Mike Tyson reportedly threw a sugar bowl and chairs through the windows of his $4.5 million mansion. His wife and mother-in-law called the police. After that, Tyson reportedly stormed off in a rage. Apparently, it was this nationwide interview with Tyson and his wife that triggered the champ's anger. Gibbons was asked if Tyson had a volatile temper.
There's a time when he cannot control his temper, and that's frightening to me or to my mother. Michael is a manic-depressive. He is. I mean, that's just a fact.
It's very difficult. I mean, my wife would give me her opinion, but it's very difficult for me to believe.
Tyson's adoptive mother feels the champ's real problem is marital, not medical.
Destroying him emotionally, physically, and financially. That's what they're doing to him.
Tyson's manager is said to agree with that analysis, but is not talking on the record.
But I'm sorry, I'm late for an appointment.
Sports experts say Mike Tyson has a good chance to become the richest athlete in history.
If I don't fight anymore again, if I never fight again, it doesn't matter, you know what I mean? Because the only thing that matters is my healthy and the healthiness of the people I love.
Tyson may be unbeatable in the ring, but he's piling up a string of losses between fights. Harold Dow, CBS News, New York.
In Washington,
A New York psychiatrist has KO'd some of the nasty talk about heavyweight champ Mike Tyson. Harold Dow has more.
Question: is the heavyweight champion a manic-depressive or not? On national television last week, the champ's wife said he is.
Michael is a manic-depressive. He is. I mean, that's just a fact.
You agree with all this?
It's very difficult. I mean, my wife would give me her opinion, but it's very difficult for me to believe. You know what I mean?
Reports that this interview sent Tyson into a violent rage over the weekend fueled speculation about his mental health. Now, a prominent New York psychiatrist says the speculation is wrong.
Mike Tyson's problem or disturbance
does not rise to the level of a serious mental illness called manic-depressive illness.
Halpern examined Tyson for an hour yesterday, and he spoke to the psychiatrist who treated Tyson after a rumored suicide attempt. Halpern says that psychiatrist never diagnosed him as a manic-depressive either.
He did not equate this, nor would he have equated this, with manic-depressive illness.
So that raises a new question. If Mike Tyson isn't manic-depressive, then why would his wife say he is? Tyson's manager won't speculate, but he says Tyson will defend his title in December.
The fight is a go. Mike is healthy, physically and mentally, and the fight is a go.
But that's 2 months from now. And in the Mike Tyson story, 2 months can be a long time. Harold Dow, CBS News, New York.
Now some names in the news.